Grim Dawn is a game that utilizes the many systems present within the genre and asks the question, what would happen if everything was just a little bit more refined? Throughout my journey in gaming, I found myself looking for an experience, not a vessel of time wasting, as many a game I've played recently seem to feel like in this way. Warframe, Destiny 2, Diablo 4, games to mention, are all shells of an experience which seem to want you to never leave. All of them I thoroughly enjoyed for the time I played them, however. Which begs the question, what does the idea of fun come from? The idea of fun, to me, comes from one's journey throughout a medium. The experiences and lessons that are ultimately digested and spit back out in forms of system mastery, character expression, and overall progression throughout the story. The questions I find asking myself, what am I doing? How am I able to continue to do this? And why am I in this world? These questions are almost immediately answered when you load up a game of Grim Dawn. In fact, I'd like to take you throughout to the character creation process. The hand-painted cutscene depicts a downtrodden and corrupted world with extremely dire consequences. Excuse me. The landscape of Grim Dawn is filled with much strife and wickedness, in both humankind and beast alike. The only grace seemingly found in the form of a malevolent spirit leaving your body, cursing all sentient existence, spouting of some injustice delivered unto them by the gods of the world, quickly you are told to find your bearings. In the small settlement of Devil's Crossing, many are wary of you. But it seems that you are given the chance to prove yourself and your worth to what is seemingly humanity's last resistance here. The voice acting in the game is more than serviceable for something of its kind. It's nice to be able to have at least a slight narration to the structure of what is being presented. As you saw in the top right corner, there were enemies trailing into the city, constantly from time to time. A beautiful thing on display here is how every enemy and entity within the game systems utilize the character customization system. Every enemy has slots. Sometimes they use equipment similar to yours that you have access to. Let's move over here. There are 10 classes currently, with an 11th planned with the new DLC coming out soon, Fangs of Axel. The definitive edition comes with 2 expansions, Ashes of Malmouth and Forgotten Gods, as long as beside a Crucible mode, which is more of a wave clear and gauntlet mode. The 10 classes provide and offer much customization throughout the experience in the game, providing ranged efficiency, magic casting and pet summoning, dual wielding and spectral damage, and more along the lines of that sort. A few to name that are my favorite would be the Nightblade for its dual wielding prowess and cold, acid, and poison damage, alongside of one of its main skills, Shadow Strike, which is one of my favorites I'll be showing you later. The Oathkeeper, mainly focused on fire, vitality, which can also go into acid and physical damage. Fire and physical, and can go into vitality and acid. And it utilizes many different shield-based attacks and is your main sword on board. Another favorite is the Demolitionist, which is a ranged, focused character utilizing traps, guns, and fire, lightning, and ethereal damage. Another favorite is the Shaman. But let's not get too deep there. Another part of the customization is the devotion tree. The devotion tree is, in my experience, my favorite way to describe the devotion tree is if Skyrim's leveling system and perk point system was introduced as a customizable spell choice system. All of these constellations that you see, these small little lights on them, are abilities that will proc based on the skill that you attach them to. And what you would like to do in the game, eventually, is get these many different constellations, because they provide very strong abilities as they level. And you want them to be able to remove the defenses of what you're trying to aim to do the most damage in. For instance, Rumor from Murmur, Mistress of Rumors, removes the cold resistance, poison, and acid resistance of the enemies. Whereas, I think somebody, Uzumog or something, or Ulalak or something like that, Leviathan does a whirlpool. There's a ton of them. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. But at the end of the day, it's really expansive in that way. But it throws you into the game here. And initially, they tell you to go and clear out some zombies. And so you're off your way, searching out bodies, seeing the destruction that's happened to the world present at the current time. As you kill a few enemies, I think I've figured out at this point it's around like 12, 15 zombies for your first level. You will gain experience. You should be used to that if you're at least experienced in the action RPG genre. However, if you're new to it, it's a lovely experience because it basically showcases multiple different systems at once. How you can try to avoid damage, what you're capable of dealing damage with your basic weapon attack, the way that you absorb damage, and the way that you can actually tank damage while in combat. Initially at first, Grim Dawn did not have a dodge button. So it was all based on point and click manipulations, and very familiar to a Diablo 2-esque. Try to get them outside of their range and hit them before they can hit you, kite them, all of that. But that gameplay style is something a little bit lost on today's gaming community. So instead, as you can see, in that bottom left corner, there's a bar that is transparent above our health. The more health that we lose outside of combat and danger, we can heal naturally with that. And we can refill it by finding food and other resources that will refill that bar. However, when you level, you're then given three different stat choices: physique, cutting, and spirit. Physique, all of the three skills will let you know what they do. Physique gives you health, which is very important. Cutting gives you physical damage, pierce damage, and increases the duration of said damage. And it also increases your chances of landing melee and ranged attacks and critically hitting enemies, which is based off your offensive ability. Your armor rating is something that will absorb damage and is basically comes from not just armor, but also the combination of your armor and components, something that we'll talk about a little bit later. Normally what I like to do is put points into physique based off of whatever class I'm going to choose. I love Shaman. I've done a lot of those though. So in order to make myself try new things, I've always decided let's explore, you know? And I want to try a Shaman Demolitionist. Two of my favorite classes I have not put together yet. I have not had any. One thing that I really do like about this game is it's honestly better always to just dump all the points into your class. So there's different ways to level. You can level by putting points into your class, putting points into a skill, putting point into a skill tree that will proc off different abilities, and putting it's all good. Or putting points into the skills themselves and utilizing the active skills like Savagery or Devouring Swarm, or passive skills like Murderous Pact. It's really nice to see and really how skills are all completely described. Now, like, some people complain that there's not enough tooltip information or there's no videos, but for somebody who's played Titan Quest, played Diablo, played Dungeon Siege, it's more than enough information. A pro tip, I'll keep the tips for another time, but a small little tip that I would give for somebody new to this game would be to put points into the class itself before picking skills. I would normally put points up until the point of level 10 before you really decide on picking your first skill. What you get from that is survivability within the base stats of spirit, cunning, and physique, which will increase your HP and energy usage more, and allow you to really clear out waves of enemies before really needing the skills. When you actually get to that point, because you get 3 skill points per level up until level 50, 2 points per level up until level 90, and then 1 point per level up until level 100. The leveling experience you can really expect would be to get some. Do you mind pausing the music? The level experience you'll be able to expect would be getting to around level 70 before hitting elite difficulty, and you unlock elite difficulty after beating the main campaign. Then getting to around level 90 at the end of elite, and getting to level 100 after getting into ultimate. That's the way that I paced myself. There's multiple different ways to do it. However, in my opinion, going at the rate that you enjoy is really the key. If you try to rush and do things that you're like not really not gonna really understand in the end, you're going to ruin your own experience of the game. Grim Dawn is very akin to Monster Hunter in a way where there's a lot of different systems, but it's all built upon the things that preceded it before. So as long as you're able to do a little either studying or have the experience from other ARPGs, you'll be able to fall right in line after playing through some of these systems for a period of time.
One day I'll fly away. One day I'll fly
Give me one moment.
Oh, shit. One day I'll fly
All right, sorry about that. However, your skill traits define how your character will actually play. So, as we near rank level 3 here, you'll be able to see how the defining choices of what I pick for the class will define on what we end up doing. So, picking a shaman would already mean that I'm looking to use either two hands, a two-handed weapon of some sort, ranged or melee. I have not done a two-handed range playthrough yet. That would actually be very interesting. Fire and lightning are the two damage types of those classes that are shared. Now we have 1 point to put into. Oh, wasn't paying too much attention there. These bugs are pretty strong, as they do ranged attacks as well as leaving a damage over time area behind. Lore notes are scattered throughout the game and give bonus experience and are a way to deepen your understanding of what's going on around you. Now, here is the defining factor of what we will choose for our first skill. Savagery is a great first skill. It is basically a basic attack replacer that will do lightning damage and bleeding damage at the same time. Since I want this to be a lightning damage based character, Primal Strike is good. Getting ourselves up to Upheaval would be great at level 15, and getting Primal Strike, and I believe either Wind Devils, which will be nice. That's a pet. Briarthorn is also a choice. Grasping Vines is also a choice. I want to be able to choose the right skill. But to start off, let's go with Savagery. Another thing here that will depend on what we are, that will majorly change what we get and how we play, is the drops that we are able to find. It does have a good system of allowing you to at least have weapons to allow your build to work very early on within the game. So as you'll see, when we return back to the starting area after completing this first series of starter quests, is what I call them, you'll be able... Ooh, Omen's Axe. That's actually a rare find in this regard. That's what this symbol means. These different green items are rare items. Yellow items are magic items. So we got a two-handed axe, which is dope. And then we have a rare physical axe. Since this is doing cold damage, it's not necessarily what we're looking for, but it's actually a very nice find and something good to hold on to when, depending on the builds you want to go for. Since we're going two-handed here, it's nice to find that we found something two-handed here, at least to work with, so our skills can proc. And I was the type of player to go through the game and just kind of walk around and explore. That's what I did for the first hour of the game. I didn't even the first real quest is just go out into the world and see what you like, see what you find, see what you can do. There's no real limit to what you're given to do. And that's something that I really appreciate about ARPGs, because it lets you... Oh, we're getting so lucky. That's ridiculous. Alright, so we found something that works for our build immediately. That's the beauty of the game. If you walk around and explore and really look, you're given quite a number of chances to find very interesting items, since there are so many different pools to pull from. I have played through the game fully once and have not come close to finding all the items yet, just due to the idea that there's so much to experience. Since there are 10 classes, 48 full different combination of classes so far, that many items needed to support all of them, you're gonna have a good time. I forgot to equip our skill. That is one thing you must do. So if you're going to use a controller to play this game, which it's actually very well done, you're going to have up to 6 different skills that you're going to have on your hotbar, and you'll be able to swap between different sets of hotbars, as well as 2 different sets of weapons. For a time, I did try to juggle both ranged and melee on the same character with controller, but it's just not nearly as enjoyable, in my opinion. It's gonna be physique. We're gonna need spirit, but I just pump physique. You'll always be able to find little food rations and things that look like food, like crates, bottles, plates of food left out by weary travelers, things of that nature. We have a really great start here. But as you make your way through to find your way to all right. It's nicer to do a little bit of a long form review on a game like this, since I've spent a lot of time in Grim Dawn for over the last few months. Excuse me, misspoke there entirely. Spent a lot of time in Grim Dawn over the last few weeks. As you see here, we are able to kill Barog the Blooded very, very easily with the setup that we have currently. The name of the game and survival in Grim Dawn is based off your health pool, your ability to resist damage and sense of armor, and resistances. Resistances are the key to survival in this game. For if you're not being able to resist, you're going to take the full hit. That's the obvious sign there. Now, we're a little bit more fleshed out in the ability to choose some skills. I always recommend at least picking one or two so you're able to live and experience what the game has to offer. Now, you're able to just truck, as somebody like me, you're able to just truck through and put your points into the level of the class first, but the experience between how you play and what you're going to get out of it is different. For somebody new to the game, I would highly recommend just trying out skills, trying out the builds, and leveling up slowly so you're able to actually enjoy the process of that leveling in the character, because the next time that you play that said character, you're going to actually enjoy it more. You're going to continue to experience the first part of the game repeatedly, and what the point is to figure out what way you enjoy doing that the most. At least, that's what I believe. Whatever way you enjoy the game, end up enjoying the game, is okay at the end of the day too. Now, as we could see, I think I have a little bit of time to explain this. The different rarities that come from just the rare items themselves are what make me super excited. For instance, Balrog's Bloody Arm works for Savagery, which, for my Trickster initially, was a lot of fun. My Trickster was the first character that I made. Getting additional bonuses to Savagery means that the skill itself has more bonuses here, does more damage, and it also modifies the skill to have more bleeding damage on it. So, it's like, whoa, that's cool. Your damage per second can be seen here. Your changes to your stats can be seen all the time. You have more armor rating with a shield, etc. So, currently, right now, we're kind of split between two setups. But since we are going to be we're mainly trying to go ranged, Balrog's Bloody Arm is not relevant here. It's just nice to have. The shield, not relevant, it's just nice to have. There are multiple different difficulties within the game that I would like to talk about now. And the one that we're currently playing on is Veteran. Veteran seems to be this perfect marriage of normal difficulty mixed alongside an additional layer of challenge for somebody experienced with the systems present. So the acid damage, the full hits that the enemies are taking and delivering, and the zero resistances that you have, that's all present on veteran mode. And the chance to get these different items and a 10% bonus to your experience also is present on veteran mode. So it's a lot of fun when you're able to take the challenge for a little bit of a gain. Otherwise, it would be a little bit slower. Getting to level 4 is not that hard. Level 5 is not even easier. My goal is to at least get to level 10 to showcase the multi-classing system and then switching to a different character. Talk a little bit more about the other parts of the game that I enjoy. So let's go ahead and truck forward here in this regard. Grim Dawn also provides a great co-op experience as well. Currently, I have a level 15 character that I'm working with another friend of mine on doing a full playthrough for, as it's a lot of fun to experience co-op like that in something so genuinely fun. The time that I spent playing a lot of Diablo was with my partner, and that was a lot of fun, but the game itself felt like it wanted you to stay consistently playing it for basically ever. There's no real issue with that design if there's an endpoint to it. But I always seem to be lacking, there's always seems to be an endpoint lacking in games designed to make money. And everything, Grim Dawn is designed to make money too. But they have a different service model in the sense that the expansions that they are providing you are meant to last you and be full game experiences within themselves. I don't know if you saw there that how close we were to taking lethal damage. The health potion that they give you is very strong. Like, they give you quite a bit to survive and like be able to make it through, and it being infinite is dope. Like, I don't think there's I have not found the ability to get multiple health potions, but there are literal healing skills within the game that you can kind of just act like a healing potion, for lack of a better word. Cunning or HP and defensive ability. You know what I want there. We're gonna put a point into cunning, and then we're gonna put a point into spirit. Since we're level 6, we can't hit 10 yet. For Feral Hunger, I think a point in there, and then 3 points, and in Feral Hunger. One honest point of advice that I have for people in this game, or people new to this genre, is explore as much as you can when you're playing the game for the first time. The exploration in itself is what provides familiarity with the landscape, with the way that you will navigate throughout the game, and will teach you your preferred way of enjoying that. There's no level of preparation that you can have when you're playing a Twitch-based game like this, and a Twitch meaning like the actual act of twitching. You'll never be able to really find that level of enjoyment by constantly looking for the best build or the best design or whatever that aim is. A lot of the time in Grim Dawn, I see a lot of new players going through and being like, what's the best way to build for this? I find myself, like, before they even play it, they're like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want this item. The game actually is more fun to play when you let the items that you're picking up decide your build. Because there's so much variance. You can constantly change. There's no penalty to resetting what you want your build to do. Purely because the freedom of choice is what would allow you to change your approach to the different challenges that you face. There was a period of time in one of my main builds, or my main characters, that I was running purely trying to do blade trap or use like a skill that would pin down the enemy. over time, that skill kind of scaled down, and I wasn't getting enough defenses. I wasn't dealing enough damage. Decided to switch over, and it was extremely fun. Ha! Look at that, easy peasy. Getting to level 10 is honestly a quick experience once you know how to do it. The main way to increase the damage in your skills is to dump your points into them once you've reached the your preferred level of growth with your class. The difficulty doesn't necessarily spike super badly before that point. So while we're level 5 facing level 4, level 5, level 6 enemies, there's no real need to jump up your skills to level 5 or even whatever the highest point you can, because your actual class will be weaker at that point. It's a beautiful way of making theory crafting a part of the leveling experience. Not just necessarily, oh, I'm going to plan out a perfect build and then just brain rot run through it. But you can do that with the different amounts of modding that's put into the game. Modding is something that I haven't experienced personally, but I have done a bit of research on. A bit meaning at least looked up the basics of how to mod Grim Dawn and understand what it would take to do so. Grim Dawn is supported modding, it's supported in its modding directly by Crate Entertainment. However, in order to do it, you're going to need to make a custom client of the game and then make your own code for the mods that you would like to do. If you want to run multiple mods at the same time, you'll either need to work with the mod creators in order to make a combination mod, or see if anybody on the forums has done it already, as there are a fair bit of people who play the game and are devoted to creating the best experience possible. There's literally a plethora of things that change a game, to even playing like Diablo, having seasonal content, things that the developers themselves are actually excited by and are implementing into the game with the next expansion. The community that surrounding this game feels akin to the old calling, or the old the old guard of the internet. Back in the days when we would play EverQuest, Dragon Fable, RuneScape, things of that regard. Those type of games where community was based off knowledge and experience, as well as execution of what you were doing. The best person the best player or the best person on the forums isn't necessarily the person who can make the best build, but the person who understands the class and the way to convey it to a person who hasn't played it before. It's quite fun to go through and see the different builds and the experiences people have had, while learning about what the classes that I played or characters that I thought I understood well can actually do. The game has a very complex and deep system of exploration, which allows you, in reality, to experience as much as you would wish. There are many side quests within Grim Dawn that you're able to find by spending a little bit of time walking around the outskirts. For instance, if we walk around enough before heading back, we may find a hero enemy. These are specialized enemies that do basically what you can do back to you. And it's nice that they introduced this idea early on in the game so that you're able to understand how the difficulty of the game will expand. The difference in class and how the difficulties is, just from my recent playing of an Oathbreaker, is crazy. Oathbreaker is a class from the Ashes of Malmouth DLC, It's so good because it basically has CC built into weapon damage, and oh, it's such a good display of like the idea where if anybody's ever played 4E Dungeons and Dragons, like melee characters and non-magical classes should be allowed to like manipulate the enemies and make them feel damaged and worried by just knocking them the fuck around. Like you gotta think, if somebody's doing feats of strength wearing armor, jumping up 10 feet in the air, that dude's a fucking tank. Or that girl's a fucking tank, whoever it is. It's a beast. Like that's why it's awesome to see that. Like I'll show you on the other character how you can just be jumping around, walking around, and knocking the fuck out of these enemies. Nice. We actually have a fair bit of decent items so far. It's good to hold on to them if you want to sell them, but I've found that the white items are just literally there to be serviceable if you haven't found anything else so far. Most people at this point would return back to town, and the beautiful thing is they have built in an idea that you are literally one with the Aether, that ethereal or the Aether energy that went with inside of you. You're able to open up these little portal rift gates, which open up the map, and you can find more of these as you explore around the game. Some of them are protected by enemies, some of them require you to seek them out deep within them. You know, there's many different routes and ways to go for it. Ooh, nice. I love that attack. Primal Strike is so much fun. It's one of the abilities that I do use in my main character. So this is a totem that comes from the DLC. It's basically like a challenge riff, a little challenge riff where they'll spawn in like up to 4 hero enemies, depending on your level of faction reputation. That's a perfect way to transition into that. You have positive faction reputation and negative faction reputation. The hostile beast and enemies that you face slowly over time become more difficult to face as you become more known to them, and their ilk as you kill them. That comes in the forms of extra spawns of mobs, extra hero spawns, and eventually a nemesis. A nemesis is literally a customized end boss that will hunt you down on the map and look for any way to kill you. They will even have abilities that are tailored to work against you and your lowest resistance. They spawn per session, and they drop very strong items. But they are a bitch to fight. You could go this way. I probably will. I love Primal Strike. AoE attacks, AoE ability, so necessary in the beginning of this game. The way that they overwhelm you initially is by a number of bodies in front of you, which limit your maneuverability. Limitation on your maneuverability means lack of freedom to move around the battlefield and kill things, or at least dodge attacks. And boy, those early projectiles are strong on your end as well as strong on the enemy's end. if you find yourself dying a lot of the times and you don't know why, try zooming into the fight to take a look at what the enemies are actually doing. The animations are well done. They're just subtle. Now, granted, we should have probably gone back to be able to get a little bit more info on what's going on in these areas, but I literally wanted to get this rift first. Like, this is the way that I played the game autistically first. I just ran straight forward, opened up all of the possible rifts I could, and went as far as I could before I died, until I died. That's and that's kind of the way I liked exploring it at first. I was like, let me see what is possible. These here are actually armored enemies. That's where they're taking less damage and seeming a little bit more tougher. And they have an ability, which you can use, which lowers the offensive ability of enemies around you. Offensive ability, like I said, if you remember, all dictates into if you can actually hit the enemies or not. How much damage you're going to do, and if you're actually going to crit them. Important thing to remember as well is kill the enemy that has the least HP. If you leave him alive, you leave him to do more damage to you. I think we have one more wave. Oh, yeah. I felt that coming. This is honestly the rate I like to play at. That way you can see a little bit more of what's going on. And you can see your character's model. Nice. We got the rift gate. Booyakasha. And as you enjoy using these skills and doing them and learning about learning about their potential, the higher you go into the skill tree, the more they're modified. For instance, this skill allows you to chain it to basically enemies that are not even standing in the general first burst of the attack. So that attack would happen, and it would chain extra attacks to ones around with lightning. It's quite a bit of fun. Going up here to grab this quest to show off a little bit of the side quest system. Not all of the dialogue is voiced in this game, obviously. And it's a nice and easy way to sell your items that are present. Since I played through enough, I kind of know what I want to use and what I won't. Since we got the White Mire, oh, we'll get level 8. We might as well. Almost there. And then we'll TP back to town. I should have probably cracked that totem, because cracking that totem gives you multiple hero enemies, which lets you level up super fast. As you can see how much damage we're taking from that magic versus the physical. You gotta pay attention to the details there. One silk necklace down. Oh, I don't even know how we missed that primal strike. But we did. That's 2. We already got Pharaoh Starotted. The last one we need is Julius. I'm basically completing side quests early, which is something that is nice in this game and lets you do. If you kill enemies, they'll give you credit. Fogging Bank. These guys are chaos damage based. And some of the first humanoids that you run into. I guess zombies are technically humanoids too. But alive humanoids. Sodden Hollow. Running up on that point now where I'm gonna need to invest some points to make it a little easier. Not that bad though. Easy peasy. Chests. Not bad. Yaha! We found him. This is a bad situation. It's one of those where it's like, oh yeah, let's focus on the main enemy. You have to clear those mobs. If we sat there and didn't fucking kill all those flamethrowers, we would be dead. They just do so much damage with that ranged attack. You can't tank through it. Can't tank through it and this dude's damage. This is also one of those fights right now that might be like, that's actually hilarious. I don't know if they're attacking me or him. It's attacking him? No, it's attacking me. And it's attacking both of us, which is hilarious. No, it's not attacking me. It's actually one of the first times in the game I've seen where it will attack, like enemies will attack each other independent of your own involvement or interaction. Because it shows that the world is like everybody's their own person. It's lovely. Alright, we're at the point where we can face him down. If he had like an offensive ability skill, it would help. Or say if we picked up Pharaoh Hunger by this point, we would be chunking him down. But laziness, all that. Like if you could dodge his attacks and move around. He's also an armored enemy, so it kinda sucks. That's why we're dealing so little damage with physical. And if he blocks her primal strike, it barely does anything. So after this, it'll be definitely a time to invest more points and head back to town. I love primal strike so much. Almost there. And voila. We'll head back to Devil's Crossing. Let's turn in some of the quests. Nice little extra skill point there. We didn't get enough scrap yet. Normally we do, or at least like find the necklace for this person. It's all possible, but sometimes it's not as fast. So in the regard, ooh, that tent is new. Negan the Withered. Negan the Withered is further up. I'm not gonna make that. Those are better for us now. Poison and acid resistance is just like necessary right now. But also this is better. We have 2 scrap, that's so annoying. I wonder if he has any scrap to buy. Yeah, I'll buy it. Oh, you got 5 scrap to leave? Ugh, gross. I think, yeah, we're back into the portal. So where we want to go from here is deep into the Foggy Bank, kill Negan, and then we'll probably be closer to level 10 by that point. And we have 10 points to be able to invest. We're currently level 8, which is great. That means we'll be able to get all the way to rank 15. With 3 points open. That's very good. So now we can invest into Thorough Hunger, Upheaval, and another skill, Wind Devil. Sure, why not? I've never used Wind Devils before. I've never used Briarthorn. But, you know, we'll try it out. Sweet. Did we get Cadence? We didn't pick up Cadence. That's okay. Oh, well, look at that. Level 9. That makes it a stun. I did get the Winded. Look at that. As you can see, we're doing a lot more damage. Perfect. Need scrap. Just go back to Whitebuyer and then find the Sylph necklaces. Yep. Almost there. Nope. Don't need to go to him yet. Looking for the flooded depths. Haha, there we go. More of that works. Oh, no luck. Nice. Perfect. Ogrim. The old dump has a mini boss in it too that I'm just remembering. The hell's over here? Why do I need to go down there? Aha! Would you look at that? Yes! The third necklace. Wonderful. Fourth necklace. No problem. I know what's in here. I think this is flooded passage. No, it's just a cavern. Interesting. Exploring the different little underground areas of the game. Ooh, who was that healer, bro? Nah, that's new. That's a whole pack. That must have been the Boneback healer. Nope, it was a Howler. Howler heals them. Makes sense. I don't come into this cave every time. But going into the different cave spawns that are around honestly give you a lot of options and choices. I think we're going to hit level 10 right here. And it'll be nice to show off a little bit of what this Aether Spawn Totem is. That's what the name of them are. Savage Totem is what this one is called. Savage Spawn will summon a beast type enemy hero for you to fight and kill. Each hero that you kill, depending on your faction, like I spoke of before, will give you a chance to drop a rare item or a magic item, depending on your level. It's actually very dangerous sometimes for newer players because you can get types of enemies that can spawn that you will have no real idea of how to deal with unless you're like familiar. Ooh, Blood Seal. What's that? Blood Seal is a weapon, bleeding damage over 3 seconds, 13% bleeding damage. That's good to use for us. Level 14 though. Bonus damage to all pets. Hey, we're getting some good stuff here. We're getting some good stuff here, guys. Good stuff here. Oh, look at that. Aggressive reinforced greave of haste. Need more scrap. It's actually wild to not have gotten nearly as much scrap. But I'm also not. I was very hyper focused on clearing stuff out. So it kind of happens. In order to get scrap and the resources and components, you need to literally break a bunch of. You need to walk around and break crates. Like the likelihood that you will find scrap from a crate is so much more. Having movement-based abilities as well on your character is something to think about. Due to, otherwise, if you don't have that, then you will need to invest into movement speed on your character itself. Alright, and then there's a boss that will be up here. Not every boss in the game has a, oh my goodness, that might be, finally. Because, you know, originally the idea was for this build is not to go, wait, we're already level 10? What? And we're already level 11? That's crazy. Primordian, the Forgotten One. Yes, he has different names. I'm like actually trying to move around. I don't even understand what the hell happened here. Oh. It was making me pick up the item for some reason. So that effect that you're having happen there is like a negative buff that makes you either stunned or take damage or whatever the tooltip will tell you. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. This will take a while. Just due to the fact that we're not doing ridiculous amounts of damage on this character yet. So, like, we don't have any skills that are, like, dealing, like... We don't have 2 skills that are dealing 200 damage. Mighty Reinforced Greave of Haste. Actually, what would be nice would be to pick our second class. Demolitionist. 1. That's all I wanted there. And then... cool. That's so funny. I had to do that. Wait a second. Let me do this real quick. It's the real way that I play the game. RT is gonna be Stunjacks, I guess. It's closest thing to a projectile we have. Stunjacks is a lot of fun. They do quite a bit of damage. They also stun the enemy. And now you can see we're doing quite a bit of more damage, taking through a little bit more of what he's going through. And now that we have a actual DPS rotation, it's feasible to go through and chunk him down. So Stunjacks deal a decent amount of damage. Lightning Strike deals more. Savagery dealing consistent 60 to 100 damage. Much more doable. And that's kind of the platform you want to build your character around if you're struggling. Should be done with this fight momentarily. nice. Shrewd Putrid. Oh, wow. We got some good items there. We got the Final March, and we got Blood Seal. Not bad at all. So we have basically great items to swap straight into here. I'm just going to equip that for the poison and acid resistance. Why not? Wow, we have leveled up straight through. I have not thought about it at all. 2. Basically want to divest enough so that you're not too heavily invested in any one direction or not. Vampiric Tarnished Maul, huh? Alright. So clearing that out here. I believe there's... No, it's not a totem in this one. Oh, Tempest for a mantle lined with blood. Not mad. Finally, green shoulders, huh? Put those. Get more HP for that. Self necklaces are in White Mire to return. Luther, Molten Heart. Well, sure. Let's do that. What we will do is we'll return the necklaces. Get the XP for that. Go turn in something for nothing, get the scrap for that. And then turn in the not a drop to drink quest. And then we can wrap up the review with there. Fantastic. The map of this game is huge, by the way. It's quite a bit of fun to explore all the way through. Oh, we only have 4 out of 5. Oh, we need one more. Not that bad. Do you have any scrap? It does. There you go.
Look at what money make a bitch do.
And each time you do one of these type of quests, it's like, so when we do this next Sylph quest with him, one quest and one part of the main quest, each act will give you an additional inventory space. So as did not mean to sell that. Buyback system is very nice, super easy to do. That does more damage, 100 more damage. That's what I thought. I was like, why are we doing so little damage? Obviously, you know why.
Niggas cock watching.
Alright, so all these... Now, granted, it's good to look at them if you are not sure. But if you're sure of what you're doing, then do what you gotta do. That does more damage than the weapon I have. Because, you know, the sword that we have is just not that great. 1 to 11 lightning damage, attack speed. But, I'm happy with it. Not gonna be bad about something if it's not perfect. But I'm still thinking about the two-handed. Is it gonna be melee or is it gonna be ranged? All depends. All depends right now. But there's a nice illusion system as well. It costs money. So it's not like super necessary to do unless you want to. But what is this going to be, a lightning based character? I don't even know if I have a lightning. Sended cowl, Magi's visor. Maven suit is not that one. Praetorian face guard, spirit weaver. Sorry, hey, that's the one. The conduit. right. Boop. And Thunder Touch braces for sure. We want this one. Base Bless Cleaver, Mogtherin, Bone Shard Lacerator, the Farmstead Liberator, Conduit, Stewart Halberd, Alric's Rebuke. Haha, that's cool. And just like that, you can make his character look awesome. The stash system is pretty simple. The crafting system is something you gotta unlock as you progress through the game. And then the shared stash is something that's available right from the start. And once you get your character to pretty much level 50, these type of like your opening build choice and customization just becomes so much more diverse that like that's where the game really starts. But yeah, that was nice to get that character up to that point. To wrap up the review here, my story experience is basically that this game is a single-player MMO within a small game world filled with lore and lovely, beautiful ideas. Listening to the conversation that I've had with myself over time, gaming seems to not be for fun anymore. It seems to be a way to express work or invest time for most other people. But as I age and spend my time in these different worlds, I don't find myself seeking greater and harder challenges for no real reason. I already face that in my day-to-day life as I challenge myself and grow. Instead, I seek an interesting experience, one that will allow me to interact with it at my own pace, and one that will not insult me for choosing which path I would prefer to take. One that encourages my own rate of exploration and investment back into the time that I put into the game. I find myself having more fun playing for short periods of time rather than getting lost for hours on end in my mind trying to construct an idea of what needs to happen next. What item needs to drop in order for it to be a good run, when in reality, whatever item dropped is what I got, and working with that is what Grim Dawn puts as a priority. Work with what you have to build the best of what you can do. I found freedom in the sense of just enjoying something as simple as it is. So, that's my opening experience for this game. And personally, I would really hope that you guys would give it a try. There's many different ways that you can go. For instance, I can even show you an example here. The total difference of this class being a Nightblade and Shaman rather than a I have a level. I didn't even know. Nightblade Shaman rather than a Demolitionist Shaman. We're on elite difficulty in the same area, that starting area. I've actually hilarious because I just recently went on elite difficulty. As you can see, how much damage they do, how much damage we do, and how like the investment into the devotion system. Now you can see what it's actually kind of like. So, for instance, this character has Rumor picked. It has Amatok, Spirit of Winter for Blizzard. Finishing that's actually in priority, so we can get constellation points. It has Ghoul, a Fiend, so we can get healing. Has Bat for like additional divinity points and such. All of these different things. I'm definitely gonna get Wendigo. Wendigo's so fucking good. All of these different things to allow us to try and figure out how we're gonna progress forward. I haven't decided necessarily to really go that much deeper in on this character, just because there's so many different ways that I can choose to progress. After beating the game on this first character, I'm like, this is my first character. I'm not happy with the progress that I made on that. Now I want to see what's the next way I want to make my character. And this character is the one I'm going to really be using just to farm up materials and craft and build and see how far I can push. As you can see, the damage numbers can get pretty crazy. Is it a great build so far? There's a lot of mistakes that I've made along the way. but at least have been able to learn from those mistakes and continue to proceed forward. So, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me today. And I hope you guys give this game a chance. Until next time. See you later.